everyone, it's me, Eleanor Hode from Handsworth Park Community Garden, working with Sir Hayley and the Friends of Handsworth Park and the Active Wellbeing Society. So today I wanted to talk to you about dandelions. You can see this fabulous tray of them that I've got here in front of me. This is a really good time to go and pick dandelion flowers. I'm hoping most of you will recognise dandelions. They've got these very distinctive large yellow flowers and they're often growing in grass. They're one of these plants that is seen as a weed, but actually they're really beneficial for us. So if you've got them growing in your garden, it's really nice to try and leave them there if you can. And see them as something that you can use rather than something to pull out. The flowers, the whole plant is edible. You can eat the root, the leaves in salads, and the flowers. But the bit that we're going to focus on today is the flowers. So yeah, you should recognise the bright yellow flowers. They're open very wide in the sun, and they have these very thin, long petals. And then the leaves of dandelions, which is meant to be where it gets its name. Dandelion is meant to mean teeth of the lion. You'll see they have these little jagged edges to them that look a little bit like lion's teeth. Yeah, you can see them there. So the leaves are good eating young in salads. They're quite bitter, so they're very good for stimulating the digestion. But the flowers that we're going to focus on today, they just bring a little bit of sunshine into our lives. They're really, really pretty. So they can be eaten just as they are. They can be eaten in salads. But we're going to make them into some oil. The oil that you make with them is really good for aching muscles and joints, so you can use it externally as a rub for tension in muscles and joints. You could also add some other essential oils to that, something like lavender, to make it even more relaxing. And the oil can also be used as a medicine taken internally as well, so you can add it to food to take that oil internally. So when you've picked your dandelions, just try and get the ones, you want to pick them in the middle of the day when the sun's out, because then they'll be nice and wide open like these. Spread them out once you've brought them home and just leave them outside for a little while, just to let any insects that might be on them run away, because you don't want to end up with those in your oil. And you're looking for just the flower, so you don't need any of the stalk for this recipe. And then what you're going to do is find yourself a nice glass jar, give it a really thorough wash with hot soapy water, give it a rinse, then another rinse, and then leave it to dry. It shouldn't smell of anything, whatever's been in there before. You should have really cleaned it thoroughly, and the hotter the water the better. So you're just trying to really sterilise that jar. And then just take the flowers, fill up the jar, and then you're going to pour on top of those some oil. It's up to you what you use. You can use olive oil. Olive oil works really well. Sunflower oil will also work really well. Sweet almond oil, any kind of carrier oil that's edible will be really good for this recipe. So here's one that I've done. So I filled the jar with the dandelion flowers, poured on the oil, and then I've just stirred it around just to make sure there's no pockets of air in there. So you want to stir it so that they're covered. And really what you're looking for is that all the flowers are submerged in the oil and none is sticking out the top. And because the dandelion flowers contain quite a bit of water, when you cover them, instead of putting the lid back on your jar, it's good to put a piece of gauze or muslin over the top, and that will allow any of the water to evaporate, so you won't end up with water in your oil. And then, as always, put a label on it and a date, and then you can just leave that on a windowsill. Shake it every now and then for up to about a month. And then once you've finished letting it infuse in the oil, you're going to strain it through a sieve, catching the oil in another jug or a jar. You can throw away the dandelions, put them in your compost, and that remaining oil is your dandelion oil that you can then use to rub on your skin or to add to food. The other thing we're going to try is making some dandelion fritters. You can do them either sweet or savoury. I'm going to have a go at savoury today. So it's a little bit similar to a pakora. We're going to make a batter with flour and spices, and we're going to coat the flowers in that batter and then deep fry them. and this should taste really nice. You can also do a sweet version of that without the spices and a little bit of sugar. So I'll show you how I get on with that next. So the next recipe is going to be dandelion flower fritters. So we've picked our dandelions and left them outside for 15 minutes or so to make sure any insects that were on them have run away. We've also made sure that when we pick our dandelions, we pick them somewhere away from roads and any places where it might have been sprayed. So just choose your spot carefully where you pick them from. Your own garden is obviously a great place to find them. So to make the batter for them, I've just got some plain flour in a bowl with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I'm going to add some spices to that. So I've got some ground cumin, some ground coriander, a little bit of chilli and a little bit of smoked paprika. So I'm going to add those into my flour and just give it a stir. It's quite similar to if you were making pakoras or something like that. And then we also just need a teaspoon of baking powder. You don't have to put the spices in if you don't want to. You just really need the flour and the baking powder. So there we go. We've got our mixture. And then we're just going to add water to that. And we're going to make it so that it's kind of a thick pancake batter consistency. So I'm just going to add the water a little bit at a time and mix it in. We need a little bit more. If you've ever made pakora or pancakes, it's always this sort of same type of batter. So it's still too thick. Let's add a little bit more water. And keep stirring. And we'll get there. It's got a nice pink colour from the smoked paprika. And depending on how many dandelion flower fritters you want to make, you can judge how much batter you need to make. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. Getting there now. As you can see that okay. Okay, so we've got quite a nice runny batter to coat our flowers in. And then what we're going to do is take our tray of dandelion flowers, and you can see I've just got rid of any stalks and there's no insects on them now. So all you're going to do is dip them into the batter and just make sure that they're coated like that. There's one. And what I'm going to do with these, once I've coated them all, is fry them in olive oil or sunflower oil. So I'm just going to use a shallow pan. I'm going to probably put a couple of centimetres of the oil in, get it nice and hot, and then I'm going to put the dandelion flowers in the flower side down, and then just fry them till they're crispy. So I'm going to go and do that now, and then I'll come back and show you how I've got on. So I've coated the dandelion flowers in the batter and then deep fried them in oil and drained them on some kitchen paper. So I guess it's the moment of truth. They are delicious. So each one of those is one flower head dipped in the batter and fried. Let me know how you get on if you make some at home with your dandelion flowers. So dandelions, full of vitamins and minerals, especially potassium, good for the liver, relieves headaches, general all-round good tonic. Who thought medicine could taste this good? Enjoy! Bye!